All right, good news in the Middle East. Finally, it's been a long time since we really had a great, happy, positive, smiling day about something going on in the Middle East. Brigitte Gabriel is with us, national security analyst, chairman of actforamerica.org. Actforamerica.org, best-selling author. Her latest bestseller is called Rise, and we all rise for Brigitte Gabriel. Brigitte, how are you?
Great. What a great day. Delighted to be with you today, my friend.
Yes, great day. President Trump has negotiated the Israel-Hamas peace deal. All the remaining living Israel hostages have returned home, and I believe I saw all the hearses and ambulances, in a row on the streets or on the highways of Israel, carrying the dead remains of hostages as well. So I think everybody has returned home. How significant is this deal, and could anyone else have done it other than the great Donald J. Trump?
Well, it is a huge deal, and we pray for the remains of the hostages who are still in Gaza, that they are still looking for, because they do not know where they're about. We pray for them, for their return to their families so they can have closure. But this is an unprecedented deal, Wayne. This is something so different than any other deal we have seen concerning Gaza or the Palestinians to date. Because what makes this deal very different than the previous ones is this time, President Trump was able to bring leaders of the Islamic world, the prominent leaders that the Muslims in the Middle East respect and look up to. He was able to surround himself with them standing on the stage today, sending a very clear message to the population in the Middle East, who the Hamas and the Palestinians always counted on having them in their pocket. The message today said that we want a different path in the Middle East. We want to stand with President Trump, not with Hamas, but with the West, and bringing an end to this problem. And this is exactly why today marks a huge difference than any other deal negotiated in the past.
Right, and look who was doing the negotiating in the past, whether it was Jimmy Carter or Bill Clinton or... all of them, and not just Democrats, even the Republicans, George Bush, they were all politicians.
That's
Donald
right.
Trump's not a politician. He's an out-of-the-box, different businessman like no one has ever seen in the political world. So, he's a revolutionary. That's what he really is. And what he produced here was revolutionary. And you believe more countries in the Middle East, including Lebanon and Syria, could very soon come to the table to make peace with Israel as well. Is that correct?
Correct, and I'm actually working on the Lebanese part. I am a part of making that happen with Lebanon. So we are very hopeful for that. Look, I'm a Christian Lebanese. The majority in Lebanon, the Christians at least, want to have peace with Israel. Hezbollah had his thumb on the population in Lebanon. They were backed by Iran, but Iran is no longer a threat. Iran doesn't have money. Iran doesn't have missiles. Iran doesn't have power. So Hezbollah has paralyzed. And if there was ever an opportunity to come to the table, now is the time to come to the table. I reached immediately after Hezbollah was beaten by Israel with a direct message to the Lebanese newly elected president to say, hey, let's get together. Let's get a meeting together. I even invited them to my home to make a deal happen at my home between the Lebanese and the Israelis. At that time, the Lebanese were too scared. They were afraid to put their neck out. They were afraid of assassination. But I think now, working behind the scenes, and with the images that we saw today, look, if Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, all these Arabic leaders are coming together and standing with President Trump, including Pakistan, Indonesia, what's going to stop Iran, Lebanon and Syria from standing and also working on a deal with Israel? So that is about to happen. And Wayne, you said it so perfectly. It took a businessman to make this happen. Not just one businessman. The three top negotiators for the Middle East were Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, and Donald Trump. Three real estate moguls who made this deal happen. Because a businessman thinks out of the box. They do not think like a politician. They do not think like a lawyer. They do not think like an intellectual. Forget the think tanks, forget the lawyers, forget the politicians. This is the perfect example as why we need to think about electing business leaders to run our country and run it efficiently like a CEO, like a chairman or chairwoman, in order to get progress, not just in our country and prosperity, but also making deals throughout the world.
Well, and of course, J.D. Vance, the vice president, is a businessman as well. A little different. He's not a guy who ran businesses, but he was, I think, a hedge fund or a private equity guy on Wall Street. And so he understands business as well, and he may be the successor to President Trump, and that would be a good resume to have as well. I'm a big fan of J.D. I remember at the time, no one knew who he'd pick for VP. There were so many good choices, and I wrote a commentary, and out of every person available in the world, I said he should pick J.D. Vance as a VP. So I was very proud he did so. I think he took mine, and I'm sure many others said the same thing into account. But J.D. Vance fits that bill.
Continuation. We need the continuation of the processes and the strategies that President Donald Trump is putting in process right now. We need those extra 4 years to make things happen. Look, the Democrats had control of the country under Obama 6 years, and then Biden came. We need as many years to correct the ship, to turn the ship around. I mean, President Trump is working at a warp speed, but we need J.D. Vance to follow him, and we need J.D. Vance for 8 years, not just 4 years after Trump. And so I hope this is sending a message to the country where they are able to see a great contrast between how the Democrats rule the country and how the Republicans rule the country, and the progress and the prosperity and the peace under the Republicans compared to the Democrats.
You mentioned that you're involved in the process in Lebanon. Is Lebanon actually a majority Christian nation? Are Christians in the majority?
No, no longer.
No.
That
Okay.
stopped even when I was born. I mean, we were
Right,
becoming
that's
the
what I
minority
figured.
even when I was born. I mean, Muslims multiply. They marry up to 4 wives. They have actually 4 wives at a time. So a Muslim man can divorce his wife, marry another one for 24 hours. They call it the pleasure marriage for 24 hours, divorces her, and then marries another one. And they have multiple children, 10, 15 children. And so we couldn't compete just the demographics. And so Lebanon, the Christians in Lebanon are the minority. But this is an opportunity for at least the Christians and the Sunni Muslims to come together and say, we're sick and tired of Hezbollah. We are sick and tired of the mayhem. We need stability in the region and move forward right now to sign a peace treaty with Israel.
Look, the scenes out of Israel today were spectacular. It brought tears to every one of my friends' eyes and my eyes, and I'm sure your eyes, to see hostages come home. It was amazing. Only Trump could have done it. But I'm a little worried that this is not going to last, because already I saw that Hamas is back with their police force assassinating people in the middle of Gaza. They're killing people they thought were cooperating with Israel. So I'm not sure how long this could possibly last, when the minute they get the chance to reassert their power, they murder people who are friendly with Israel. So, I mean, do you think this is going to last?
Well, no, this is not going to last. Okay, so today was a day of euphoria. Everybody's happy. We're not going to say anything negative. But
Right.
you and I know exactly the
Exactly.
future, Wayne.
Yeah.
Zebras don't change their stripe.
Right.
And I mean, look at the terrorists that Israel released today. These are the worst of the worst. I mean, these are
Wasn't it 2,000 of them?
bloodiest of murderers.
I think it was
with life
2,000.
sentences.
Was it 2,000? They released 2,000 to get back 20 hostages.
That's
Nobody's
right.
talking about that. Nobody says a word about that.
That's
Israel
right.
gave up 2,000 murderers to get back 20 citizens. Amazing. Only Israel would do that. It's a big chance to take. I can't imagine those people aren't going to go back to murdering, right? Scary.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Brigitte, we're on the run. Brigitte Gabriel, national security analyst, chairman of actforamerica.org. Her best-selling book, Rise. And she is busy making Lebanon great again. She's working hard. We appreciate everything you do, Brigitte. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.